So I hope you can see this. Is it coming again, the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now see, I have already given you an indication or an idea that how the donor conditions, donor agencies, how they try to influence the reforms in the energy sector when they are investing more, and they are really trying to politicize their vested interests on each and every nation so that the profit gaining can be ensured by these agencies at the fullest level, at the maximum level. So there is a close political process and politically powerful groups. They are constraining the attention to sustainable development objectives. So often, whenever the donor agencies are given the upper hand by the government, they are trying to have their own vested interests fulfilled out of these projects, and they seldom look into the interests of the commoners or those who are living in rural landscapes in isolated areas, especially in the developing economies. So a disparity in the regional economy rises, and it also increases the regional disparity or the regional imbalance in the country. Only those who can afford it, only those who are living in the urban areas, they are in a better position to get the benefits out of these projects. But those who are poor, those who cannot afford to have higher prices for having these facilities, and those who are living in isolated rural landscapes, they are not being taken care of by these agencies who have got some different interests for investing on these projects. So the government should not give an upper hand to these individual entrepreneurs who are investing. This has happened in South American government. This has happened in the soils of South America, and there the government was not ready to leave the decision making upon these donor agencies or to the private entrepreneurs. Every decision was being taken by the government, and the government was taking the control of how they are going to operate within this sector. Who will be operating? The private investors. How they will be operating? Following the guidelines which government will be formulating, and it should ensure the social equity among different groups, among different areas, and it will also ensure the sustainable development process for the future. So the South African government was very much taking the initiative for environmental protection to be maintained for the future. Together with this, the development projects will continue. Now, donor agencies have initiated reforms and advocated attention to environmental concerns, but have been hampered by past reputation and a perception of favoring the private interests. Now, they have got some private interests, and even when they are trying to follow some environmental concerns, but often to retain their reputation of having a major production and to gain major benefits out of it, to continue their past reputation, they're often going against the environmental concerns or environmental norms that are being laid down by the government. And so they often comes in confrontation with the government rules and regulations. But if they really take it as a major concern for their own also, and if they can continue obeying the rules, laws and principles laid down by the government for maintaining a sustainable development, then both the private and public enterprises in this sector can play a very positive role in ensuring a better sustainable development for the future, where development together with environmental protection can continue. Now, again, to be effective, public benefits need to be factored into reform design early and backed by political commitment. So political groups should look into the interest of the commoners. they should not get motivated only by the investors. They should not only try to preserve their interest, but they have to think of the public utility system, how it is flourishing in the country, in what way it can ensure better services to the commoners or to the public. In fact, by enhancing the public utility system, the quality of the public utility system, the entire community is going to get benefit out of it. But if it is looking into the interests of some of the people, some of the entrepreneurs who have enough money in their hands, who can motivate the politicians from time to time of how to rule a country or how to bring reforms in the sector, that it will be completely polarized, and the reforms will be completely in favor of the richer section, and it will not earn enough benefits to the commoners or to the ordinary people. Now coming to the recommendations to a progressive politics of electricity sector reform. First of all, frame reforms around the goals to be achieved in the sector. First, you have to set out some objectives or goals properly. You have to make a chart of what objectives you want to achieve. And then you have to tick mark one by one that how much you have been able to achieve through the methodology you are following, through the means you are trying to achieve those goals. If you are successful enough, then all the objectives which you have desired will get fulfilled. But if the corruption starts building within the sector, within your running of this sector, then obviously some of the desires will be fulfilled while others will remain as it is. So a narrow focus on institutional restructuring. Restructuring by financial concerns is too restrictive to accommodate a public benefits agenda. To build a framework that includes such an agenda requires an articulation of the services. Articulation means how to bring changes in the way you are providing the services. That was there in the past, okay. But if you want to bring some reform, some change in the process, you have to reorient your process of providing the services. So that is called articulation of the services that a reform sector is intended to provide, and the means by which it should do so. While donor agencies often play a central role in initiating the reform, they must step back during the process of defining the goals to allow a nationally driven vision of reform to emerge. Even at the time of setting the goals or objectives also, the donor agencies, the entrepreneurs, the private entrepreneurs, they want to design the objectives according to their interests, but they should not given the upper hand. They should not be given the upper hand by the government. The government should set up what objectives it needs to attain for the benefit of the commoners. The donor agencies often they are trying to play a central role when the reforms are getting initiated. Okay, but while setting the objectives, the government should have the most decisive role for playing that what has to be achieved within which time frame and how much gains are expected and how these gains are to be distributed among the commoners. So these type of decision making should rest upon the government and not on the private investors. Is it getting clear? Is it getting clear to you all? Or are you
Yes, ma'am.
Or are you feeling somewhat difficult? This topic, is it getting clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now structure the finance around the reform goals rather than reform goals around the finance. So first you set out the objectives as we are moving in the research process also. First you have to set up a hypothesis or you have to design some objectives. Then you have to think of the methodology and how to proceed for fulfilling those objectives, then you have to go for the research design. In the same way, how you have to act, you have to make a decision on the basis of the set objectives. Objectives should not be set according to the vested interests of the entrepreneurs or the amount of finance they are giving, but on the other hand, just the opposite, that is, objectives are to be first set up, then the investors will be called upon by the government that these are the objectives, you need to fulfill them within this 5 years or 10 years goal, and for this, how much finance you can give and how much we can give as a support to you, and what expected gains are from these objectives and how they are going to be benefit the others. These will be completely resting on the decisions of the government. The private investors will act under the guidelines of the government. Rather, they will not influence the government decisions for it. So, first of all, the goals should be structured, the goals should be designed, and then the methodology of how to achieve those goals, that should be planned. But often it is seen that in the developing countries, just the opposite is happening. Those who are investing, given a large finance to this sector, they are determining the goals as per their interest, and the government is leaving every control over those agencies. But if this is there, then obviously the corruption will rise, as has happened in Indonesia. So the past experiences should be taken care of, and if the future, if any country wants to have some future reforms in this sector, they should be kept in mind that in no way the private entrepreneur should be given the upper hand. Now, build the political strategies to support attention to a public benefits agenda. So everything should be oriented towards public utility, how to improve the quality of the public utility, how to eradicate the isolation problems of some of the localities within the country. These communities who are living in the isolated areas of rural landscape, they should not feel isolated from the mainland. They should be included, and the capacity building has to be done for the entire nation, not only for the rich class of the urban areas. So a disparity will grow within the society if these are encouraged. But if you are going for the social equity issues, this will certainly going to bring a parity among different areas regarding the regional development, and the disparity will automatically come down, because the electricity sector is now earning enough of revenues, and it is also a determining factor regarding our country's economic progress. So if there is enough of disparity within this sector, then it will ultimately lead to enough disparity in the total economic gains among the urban and the rural landscape. So it cannot be encouraged. Now, by focusing on financial health, reforms in the electricity sector have excluded a range of broader concerns also relevant to the public interest. In this study, we have examined the social and environmental concerns and stake of these reforms. And it has been found that not only are they inadequately addressed, but that social and environmentally undesirable trajectories can be locked in through technological, institutional, and financial decisions that constrain the future choices. So if the institutional decisions, the financial decisions, and the technological decisions are taken by the government for the benefit of the whole, then enough of positive reforms can take place in this sector also, and that can ensure a proper sustainable development in the future for countries' economic progress. So finally, it is recommended that to do so, the process by which the reform goals are defined and reform decision-making must change to embrace a more consensus-driven design of reforms. Consensus means that is an agreement that that will play between both the public and the private investors. A consensus that will benefit all, irrespective of only the richer class, and that will ensure the overall country's progress. It will not encourage the regional disparity. More complex processes bring with them greater risks of capture by special interests and failure due to a cacophony of voices. Yet exclusive reforms of the electricity sector have not incorporated the breadth of interest that deserve a voice and have not yet shown themselves to be sustainable financially, socially, or environmentally. This study has suggested several reasons to believe that a modified approach, guided by a vision of a socially and environmentally sustainable electricity future, may yield a more satisfying outcome. So far, this sector has not been very much successful in yielding, in ensuring a financial, social, or environmental stability for the future. But obviously, it is expected that if the past problems are adequately addressed, and if the government takes enough initiatives for intervening in each and every decision making for the benefit of the whole of the nation, then it can also bring enough of reforms in the sector which can adequately address these problems for the future. So this topic ends here. I hope everybody has understood. I have tried to simplify it as much as possible. You don't need to go for Indian part separately. You have to make a case study of India, and you have to understand what is the situation of India in respect of other countries also. How it is differing from other countries, and how the politics of these sector is going on in the modern era, and whether it has been successful in bringing enough of reforms for ensuring sustainable development or not. So have you understood? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I hope if the question comes from here, you will be able to answer it according to your own concept. See, you cannot expect the direct questions in this final term and exam. So whatever you are reading, you have to develop some concepts of your own. I hope the basic major concept of how the politics is going on in this sector you have understood. Now we are in a position to answer, even if the questions come from different angles. Okay, so please go through this note. The portions which I have marked, I will share it with you in the WhatsApp. So I think it will not create any problem. Okay, and if you want to go for the Indian part, अलग से अगर तुम लोग कुछ पढ़ना चाहती हो Indian part, that is also included here. But I have not gone into the details of this report. This introductory part is enough to understand the basic concept. So if you are interested to read the Indian part separately, you can go through that Indian part alone. Okay, now I will just share with you the Darjeeling note, which the portions which you have to read from Darjeeling, and these are very important, and for term and as well as for internal assessment also. And in the Darjeeling, the major regional issues that have come up, it is based on the natural environment. So how the economy of Darjeeling is getting affected by its natural settings, by the climatic environment, that is the major issue to be learned under the Darjeeling part. Now, I think the Darjeeling note has been given to you. Is it? Has it been shared? I think it has been shared, no? I'm stopping the share of this note. I'm trying to open the Darjeeling note. Please give me 2 minutes. Do you remember that whether I have shared the Darjeeling note with you or not? Please
Yes, ma'am. You have sent the notes.
I have sent the notes, I think, but let me open it over here. I will just show you what are the major issues to be dealt with under the Darjeeling Himalayas part. Let me open it first. Please give me 2 minutes. Is it coming now? Can you see it? Is it coming now? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It's coming.
ma'am.
Okay, okay. So you see here the environment and rural development in Darjeeling Himalayas, especially the Darjeeling Himalayas has been perceived as a rural landscape where how the development can take place, conserving its pristine environment that has been dealt with in this particular research paper. And this is a very nice paper and you must go through it like a story. It's a very simple one. It is not a difficult one to understand, but the major issues to be dealt with here is how to keep a harmony with the environment and how to continue with the economic processes there. So Darjeeling Himalayas suffer from a vicious cycle of development process along with a burgeoning population. Burgeoning population means because of the sharp population rise, there has been a constant increase on the area under subsistence crops, followed by an increased dependency on livestock farming. So the terrace farming in the Darjeeling Himalayas, it is a very popular way of sustaining the community, and this is the major production system also along with the tea gardens. And the people there, they are mainly engaged either to tourism or for uh, for uh, growing the crops for their own subsistence. They are not very much oriented for market surplus, but majority of the people in the rural landscape of Darjeeling Himalayas, they are engaged for their subsistence farming. I think you know about the subsistence farming. Subsistence farming means whatever the products are getting raised in the farms, they are meant for their own consumption, not for market, not for marketable gains. Okay, they are not being marketed. They are mainly for their own personal use. So such sequences intensity the demand on the fragile mountain land. But this pressure of the population together with settlements is increasing the pressure on the natural resources what Darjeeling have, and it is also leading a major problem or a risk to the fragile mountain lands. In fact, the excessive encroachment of the forest lands to meet the mushrooming demands for fodder, fuel, wood, and other requirements has led to unprecedented damage to the forest lands, livestock grazing. More than often in this fragile environment has led to overgrazing impacting the environment. So together with the subsistence farming, the livestock ranching is also taking a major role, and that is also leading to major environmental degradation in the recent era because the population demand is rising, but the way the different jobs that are not getting created in the environment, and the rural people, they are not very technologically skilled also, so they are majority they are depending on subsistence farming or on livestock ranching, and this overgrazing is obviously impacting the environment negatively. Now, tourism in the area is another factor that has its share in the degradation and pollution of the environment, though it is earning some revenue to the local economy, but at the same time, the tourists are also bringing a major harm to the degradation of the environment, and the pollution factor are also rising in the region. Besides the physical isolation, economic backwardness, social heterogeneity, and unstable politics have a bearing on the social life of the hill folk, which is often ventilized through disbelief, frustration, and demand for linguistic and political autonomy. So often they are going for Gorkha land demand. They want a separate land of their own because they have a different dialect. They mostly speak Nepali or Hindi, and they are often they feel isolated from the state also. So they want to have a political autonomy of their own. And this paper has tried to highlight these issues. These are the burning issues which are rising, some problems in the among these hilly regions of the state, which is a major attraction for the state also. So environment is a stage on which human drama is enacted and includes mainly the physical and biological setting all around us. And the environment plays a major crucial role in areas like Darjeeling, where everyone is getting attracted to visit just because of the environment, just because of the picturesque landscape. This landscape is a gift from the God. So if it is not maintained properly because of different reasons, then it is going to lose the vigor or the legacy what it was having in the past. So this habitat is of immense value to mankind because the modern material civilization is entirely based on the exploitation and utilization of the existing resources drawn from the environment and created through human efforts. Since the dawn of human history, man-environment relationship has been an inseparable entity. In mountain areas, this is more pronounced. Terrain is inaccessible, climate inhospitability, soil infertility, and transport availability, scarcity of basic amenities and facilities make life nature oriented. So there are several issues to be given proper address in these areas because they are quite different from the plain areas, especially the harshness of the climate, the terrain inaccessibility, the transport network are also not developed like that of the plain areas. Moreover, the basic amenities are always not available also due to this terrain aspects. And this has motivated the people to live a life especially in harmony with the natural environment because they are not getting the proper access to technology here. They are not getting the support of technology here. So if they choose to live in this setting, then they have to keep a harmony with the environment. So they cannot go against the environment to have a comfortable life because here the environment or the local setting or the relief that plays a major role on the activities of man. Here the environment plays a decisive role. Have you understood? Hello?
Yes,
Have you understood? Okay. Now, the mountains separating the Indian subcontinent along its north, central, and northeastern border lying within geographical limits of about 26.20 minutes and 35°40' north and 74°50' to 95°40' east are commonly referred to as Himalayas. It covers fully or partly the 8 Asian countries, namely the Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, China, India, Myanmar, Nepal, and Pakistan. The Himalayas lying in Indian territory is spread over a length of about 2,500 kilometers with an average width of 240 kilometers and covers fully or partly 11 states of India lying in the northern frontier. The entire region is seemingly backward and politically sensitive. So the entire range of the Himalayas, starting from the Kashmir to the Arunachal Pradesh, the entire stretch is politically very sensitive and also economically backward. That is not, the life is not as smooth as that of the plain areas. What the Indo-Gangetic plains can offer to its people, the hilly areas, especially the mountainous, this rugged terrain cannot offer it to its communities. So the communities who by their own choice are living in their areas, in those areas, they have to keep a harmony with the nature. So I'm not going into the details of the study area description or why this need to study area. This is very important because the backwardness, what is it? Why it is backward? Backward in terms of socio-economy, in terms of politics, in terms of infrastructural facilities, and their variations within the area has called for a distinct study of different social, economic, and political progress that the area has achieved. So if you are comparing the Darjeeling Himalayas with that of the Gangetic West Bengal, that is quite different, both in social, political, economic way. So it has a regional characteristic of its own, and that has to be addressed by the state government. So geostrategic location is a determining factor of this. Moreover, the historical background has also played a major role. And here, this Darjeeling is thought to be a derivation of Dorjeling, meaning the place of the Dorji, that is the majestic thunderbolt of the Lamaistic religion. Lamaistic religion means the Lamas here used to dominate once. And along with the part of Kalimpong and Duars, Darjeeling was under the king of Sikkim prior to 1706. So it was not under West Bengal. It was under the king of Sikkim prior to 1706. Later on, it was included under West Bengal. The Bhutanese snatched the present Kalimpong area in the same area. During the middle of the 18th century, the Gorkhas won the Sikkim along with the Terai. Terai means the downhill part of the Himalayas. While the East India Company was busy expanding their territories in the south, Nepal had already become a strong nation by expanding its area from Tista to Kangra along with several plain areas in 1800. So you can find a majority of the people speaking Nepali in Darjeeling Himalayas who have their ancestors belonging from Nepal. So Nepal, in that before the East Indian Company took the hold of these countries, the Nepalis tried to expand its territory. Even they wanted to have Darjeeling within themselves. In 1816, Sagauli Treaty was signed, and thus Nepal handed over Sikkim and its Terai part to British. So shortly followed the Treaty of Titlea, and on the 10th February 1817, Sikkim and the Terai was returned to the King of Sikkim, making it a buffer state, buffer in between the Nepal and India. At this stage, Darjeeling was a small village under the Qazi of the King of Sikkim, that is the minister of the King of Sikkim. It was 1827 when Captain Lloyd and Grant, on the way to setting a dispute between Nepal and Sikkim, visited Darjeeling and discovered its invigorating climate. What an enchanting, what a superb climate it was. The healthy climatic condition was favorable for the establishment of the winter capital and military base. So on the effort of Lloyd, the Governor General Lord Bentinck started the dialogue with the King of Sikkim. On the 1st of February 1835, the King of Sikkim, with a view to enabling the British servants avail the healthy weather of the place, presented Darjeeling, what to him a worthless uninhabited mountain, to the British government as a token of friendship. So to the Sikkim king, it was a worthless area. It's a small village-like settlement in the height of some 7,000 meters above. So it was a worthless settlement, and it was just gifted or presented to the Britishers. Darjeeling in 1836 was a small market of a few match roof houses, properly known as Gondri Bazaar. Kalimpong, then a part of Bhutan, was snatched away by the British to include it in Darjeeling, and in 1880, Siliguri area was taken out from that Jalpaiguri district and included in Darjeeling district. The shape of Darjeeling remained unchanged, but the political placements keep on differing from time to time. The district of Darjeeling was annexed to Rajshahi after 1850. In 1905, the region in the present shape was included in the Bhagalpur of Bihar, but to be taken away to Rajshahi again in 1912, and that mattered to Bengal after independence. So how it came under Bengal from the Sikkim part, and previously it was included in Nepal. So Darjeeling has a long history to be studied, and why it is having a distinct political, social, economic problem from the rest of the state. It has to be studied based on this historical background. Now, I will not cover this Darjeeling part today. You have this exam on I think on 17th you are having the exam. So on 15th I am having the exam in the evening. So I will be having a class with you in the morning. In the morning, I will just announce this class to you shortly, okay? By tomorrow night or by day after tomorrow morning. And we will have a class around say 11:30 or 12 for this Darjeeling to be discussed in short, okay? So you will be having this exam on 17th. Before that, it will be discussed. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will be just marking the highlighted portions and I will also share this note with you, so don't worry. We will just discuss it as a story. And then I will also take a class with you for Sundarbans. Have you attended my lecture on Sundarbans? I have shared my lecture on YouTube with you. Have you gone through that YouTube lecture of myself on Sundarbans? I have shared it because you have that in your syllabus. So you must go through my YouTube lecture. That was a special lecture. I was an invited speaker for Sarojini Naidu College. And they invited me to speak on the current issues of Sundarbans, Indian Sundarbans, since my research topic was based on that. So I have almost covered all the regional issues related to Sundarbans. I will request you to please go through that YouTube video. Then it will be easier for me to discuss it again for half an hour. Okay. That's Sundarbans video. I think it has already been shared to you. Please go through it. So thank you for joining. Tomorrow the exam will be there sharp from 5. You have to join by 4:45. Is it okay?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm ending it here.
Thank you, ma'am.